I'm here to tell you all about the new Jeep Wagoneer. Spoiler alert, it's really big. I think you can see that. It looks like the camera is a block away.
Three-row SUVs are the new family trucksters in America, the vehicles that shuttle the brood to grandma's house and soccer practice. Jeep has not had anything to counter Expedition, Sequoia, Suburban, Tahoe, Yukon, or even Stellantis' own Durango, let alone the blizzard of triple-row crossovers available. Wagoneer doesn't just revive a storied name, it finally gives Jeep something to sell to those that need to schlep 8 humans.
How much is a Wagoneer? A base model with rear drive starts at $70,000, and just so you know, you can get into a Chevy Suburban starting at $54,000. This one, $82,000 as tested, well equipped, and there's a new fancy model called the Grand Wagoneer. It starts at around $85,000 and can climb up past $106,000. Talk about new territory for Jeep.
So yeah, you can get a Wagoneer that goes toe-to-toe with Escalade and Navigator, but the fake wood cladding? That's off the table. Designers say it just doesn't work with this body style. Instead, they've stuck it on the inside, where owners see it more often. Buying the plain non-Grand Wagoneer? Well, then it runs with this powertrain, a 5.7-liter V8 that's not just a Hemi, it gets an e-torque 48-volt mild hybrid system, making 392 horsepower and 404 pound-feet of torque. So you know Grand Wagoneer runs with a 6.4-liter V8 without e-torque. Both Wagoneers run with 8-speed transmissions. Manual shifts are done here. This particular vehicle has Quadra-Drive II with 2-speed transfer case and various drive modes to help tackle different terrains. It also has the optional Quadra-Lift air suspension with semi-active damping, part of a $2,300 advanced all-terrain package. It ups ground clearance to 10 inches. It lowers its speed for better aerodynamics, not that big and square slips through the wind like a bird.
Wagoneer is large and it's heavy too, 6,300 pounds on average, but it is not pokey. 0 to 60 in just under 7 seconds. Sounds good off the line, too.
There's decent power for passing on 2-lane roads. Wagoneer is a body-on-frame vehicle. Jeep points out that this is not simply a Ram 1500 architecture. Wagoneer's foundation is a couple inches wider. The rear suspension is a 5-link independent setup with coil springs.
For a large 3-row SUV, Wagoneer corners well. It's pretty easy to drive. It's also very comfortable, especially on the highway, no micro corrections. It would be great as a road tripper, especially because it's luxury car quiet. Except for the fuel economy, the EPA rates the average at 17 mpg. That would be a lot of gas.
It's as car-like as you're gonna get, considering the size. The seating position is very high. Those prone to altitude sickness, you've been warned. This is what people want these days. Low road-hugging vehicles seem to be relics of the past. And while it feels its size from behind the tiller and feels top-heavy in hard cornering, Wagoneer's driving dynamic is as trim as you're going to find in class.
Remember, this is a body-on-frame vehicle. Very impressive.
Hard to know how many Wagoneers will venture off pavement, but know that as equipped, it does the kinds of things that you would expect from a Jeep. Here are a couple shots from Mudfest, an SUV of the Year competition, where it moseys through the extreme off-road course without breathing hard. And not sure if you noticed, there's no trail-rated badge on the flanks. It does this all very discreetly. For those that need to tow, it can tug up to 10,000 pounds. It's one of the reasons why people buy these. But many are simply used as family vehicles, which is like cutting butter with a chainsaw. In the burbs, it navigates cul-de-sacs well. The turning radius is 38 feet. In dense urban traffic and parking garages, it's not as much fun simply because of its size. It's a little longer than Tahoe, about a foot shorter than Suburban.
Let's talk about active electronic safety tech. Standard on Wagoneer is adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, which is pretty good, and automatic emergency braking with pedestrian and bicycle detection. And that is very important on SUVs that are this large because these grills are so high, it can be hard to see pedestrians and pets in front of you. You have to pay attention. The mild hybrid system acts a bit as a torque fill unit as the transmission is switching gears, meaning it's as smooth as a baby's cheek. And I'll let you determine whether it's that one or that one.
I haven't driven the Grand Wagoneer, but the bones are certainly here for a very luxurious truck.
Nearly all modern vehicles have automatic engine stop-start systems these days. Not all of them are all that great, but this one is nearly imperceptible when shutting down because of the e-torque system, and startup is very, very smooth. You may not notice it. Seriously, it's that good. It can be turned off, but I doubt that you'll ever want to.
Maybe in really heavy stop-and-go traffic jams, but yeah, it's impressive. And so is the cabin. This is a Wagoneer Series II. For reference, there's a Series III, but no Series I yet. And this niceness is without venturing up to Grand Wagoneer. Really, I see the two as the sweet spot since all of the materials look and feel great, and it's stuffed with features that make family life easy. Parenting can be hard, so comfy heated and vented seats are a plus. This is heated. My very petite wife easily found a comfortable driving position because of all the ways it can be configured. A 12-year-old could drive it. If that were legal, don't get any ideas, kids. Grab handles are in the right places, too.
Tunes are important to me. This Alpine system with surround sound is very good. It's loud, it's rich, the bass a little bit boomy for my taste. I did get the chance to briefly test the Macintosh system that's available in Wagoneer, and gotta say, if you're an audiophile, do not pass on that. It's amazing.
Door panels don't get loads of cubbies to squirrel things away, but the rest of the Wagoneer has plenty of storage areas, and this being a large vehicle, some of them are quite spacious. A small dog or this standard-sized iPad is easy to stash away, and really, do I need to tell you not to put pets in here? $1,200 buys a separate passenger control screen, could be cheaper than marriage counseling. Lots of charge ports. This one is equipped with wireless phone charging. It has all the amenities of a small condo, other than a bathroom and a kitchen. The Uconnect user interface has a clean, easy-to-use flow about it, and the touch response is among the best in the business. And there are knobs where they should be, so Jeep gets kudos here. As expected, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are standard and wireless. Row 2 can be had with captain's chairs. This one's outfitted to maximize people hauling. The kids' sports team will look your way for carpooling duties. Obviously, you can dial in as much or as little legroom as needed. With over 8 inches of travel, it's easy to get situated here. For those in cold climates, this is for you. The floor is nice and flat. It's helpful that these are built in. Again, door panels don't have multiple pockets like GM SUVs. The glass roof lets passengers view the whole big sky when in Montana. The only thing keeping electronics from being charged is forgotten cords. Access to row 3 is a piece of cake, though being a truck, Wagoneer does have a higher floor. Older folks and small kids might have issues climbing in.
Not all 3-row SUVs have roomy waybacks. Wagoneer's is impressive. Notice that my knees aren't up by my chin. That's because the cushions are high enough, thigh support is good, and the seats are contoured. They're actually pretty comfortable. I'm 5'9", headroom is good, so is knee and leg room. This is a 3rd row after all. Plenty of storage, there are cup holders, there are USB ports, there are vents, and Loving the sunroof back here. I've got my own. There are belts for 3. If you're going to use them all, I would put kids back here, but 2 full-sized adults, they'll be comfortable. Seriously.
A quick design assessment. Wagoneer isn't reminiscent of the classic machine that people seem to love. It is not a retro styling exercise. Head on, it certainly looks like a Jeep with the classic 7-slot grille. There's no missing what this vehicle is. Lots of badging. My issue is with the rear 3/4 view. The rump looks heavy. Maybe I can't get the old reverse taper D-pillar out of my head. It could be the overhang. I just see the back as kind of ungainly. So, approach it from the front if design is important to you.
I'm showing you this to prove that I did come to Costco to do the TP trunk test, but they're out. Yeah, that weirdness is happening again. And a reminder that SUVs and crossovers, not as practical as vans. Gotta say it. Here, I could get maybe 4 packs of TP in. With a van, I could probably double that.
Also, Wagoneer's load floor is on the high side. There's room under here to store the crossbars and flexible security shade, but not much else. I appreciate that the cover stays right where you open it to, doesn't flop down. Plenty of bag hooks and helpful stuff back here. We're talking 27.4 cubic feet with all seats filled. Drop row 3 and you're looking at 71. It helps that as everything gets folded, the floor remains nice and flat. So sliding in 4x8 sheets of plywood or sheetrock is easy. That's a maximum of 116 cubic feet, just a bit smaller than Madison Square Garden. The mid-row is 40-20-40 split. It's not much of a reach in, so raising the back seats is pretty easy, even without power feature. Let's wrap this up. It's red light, green light time. Green lights. For a truck-based SUV, Wagoneer is comfortable and easy to drive, plus the V8 sounds great. The well-appointed interior looks rich and offers generous room for the whole clan. Properly equipped, it can take on rough terrain just like a Jeep, because it is a Jeep after all. Yellow lights? While it's docile for a large truck-based SUV, it rides high and it doesn't like hard cornering because, well, physics. There's roomy storage in the console, but multiple stash bins on the doors are missing in action. And overall, it's roomy, but the floor height and the load floor are raised up. Might be hard for small kids to get in. Red lights. It's not inexpensive. For hauling the sports team, there are more affordable vans, crossovers, and yes, other SUVs. The rear view of the Wagoneer doesn't seem integrated, almost like it came from a different vehicle. Fuel economy, or should I say the lack of it. In mixed driving, I saw in the neighborhood of 15 miles per gallon. There's the argument that if you want the best for your family, it includes the environment. This could really use a 4xe powertrain. But people are going to buy these, especially those towing heavy loads. That can't be done with a van.
No doubt about it, Wagoneer is a very nice vehicle. It's really refined. Maybe not so much fun driving in dense urban traffic. That's a better job for the Grand Cherokee L, which is a little bit smaller, but still has 3 rows of seating. Not as large, but easier to drive in the city.
The L is similar in concept to the forgotten Jeep Commander that went away in 2010. It's been a decade since the brand had a 3-row rig. Now it has 2. This one is drivable, capable, comfortable, and sizable. Wagoneer is back, even if the wood-like cladding is not. In case you missed my video about Mudfest, the SUV of the Year competition that the Northwest Auto Press Association puts on, this very Wagoneer won in the full-sized luxury category, and that's significant because 1, it's not the Grand Wagoneer, and 2, it beat out Cadillac Escalade that was easily $25,000 more. This was due in part to the Cadillac's stability control system. It was overly aggressive when we tossed it around the go-kart course at the Ridge Motorsports Park. Honestly, if you haven't watched that video, you really should. Great visuals and information, lots to think about. It doesn't get very many views since the Google algorithm doesn't know how to deal with it.
I've told you before, I have a price quote service. Use mine, use somebody else's. I really don't care. I just want you to use one because you don't know how much a vehicle is until you check with a dealership. They all charge different prices. It's why they call them dealerships. One thing, use mine and it supports this channel. I do like that.
Those that buy this or the Grand get the Wagoneer Client Experience, meaning there's a 24-hour specialist hotline for questions, round-the-clock roadside assistance, free maintenance, a loaner delivered to your home or workplace when yours is picked up for service, plus it will be returned washed and vacuumed. Or go to the dealership and there's complimentary Wi-Fi, charging stations, plus, and this is my favorite, snacks and beverages. It's Lexus-like service. I'm kind of a pragmatic guy. That's not my reason for buying a vehicle, but if you enjoy free kind bars and a cup of coffee, know that Jeep has you covered.
This is the end, and those that follow these reviews on a regular basis know it's where I offer up a fun fact. This time it's about branding. Have you noticed anything about the exterior of the Wagoneer? Huh? Plenty of Wagoneer badges. Jeep badges? Not so much. Those are very subtle. Apparently, the brand is setting Wagoneer apart, sort of a sub-brand. Ford is doing that with Bronco. And I certainly understand when it comes to Grand Wagoneer because that is a beautiful machine, definitely on par with Cadillac Escalade. And remember, every Tuesday, a great review like this. I don't waste your time. I give you great photography, good information, and fun facts. So subscribe. Thanks. That's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk.